Hey everyone, welcome to What's the Tea? My name is Laura Martin. I'm the Executive Director of the Progressive Leadership Alliance in Nevada and Plan Action. I'm here today with a very special guest, Jovan Jackson, because here at What's the Tea, we talk to really cool locals. We talk about politics, we talk about government, and today we're going to talk about a new government man for Assembly District 6, Jovan Jackson. As you know, we had the election. It's been a month since the
Yes.
election. So we're going to be talking about Jovan's campaign and his story and some of the election results. So welcome, Jovan.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
This is home.
Yeah.
Um, I'm excited to be here and to come back to my base and see where it all started.
Mhm.
So, like you say,
Yeah.
government man, assembly man,
Yeah.
assembly member.
Yes.
That's 2024 terms. Assembly member Jackson, and
Yes.
it's an honor and blessing to have the
I
title.
love that. Well, tell us about the first time you went to Carson City.
The first time I went to Carson City, we actually left out of the plan office for the Mass Live Lobby Day. It was 2019. And I believe that was the same year where felons were given the rights
Hmm.
uh, to vote. And it put everything into perspective. It made me realize I was able and capable to be in this space and do the same thing that they did.
Hmm.
Because that experience opened my mind to the possibility, like, hey, I could do this too. So it was a long bus ride. You ride on the Freedom Bus all the way there. It's like 10 hours. But the experience brought me back to like days of, Rosa Parks and the civil rights era where people literally got on the bus and rode for days just to stand up for what they believed in. So it brought me back to that era and that type of humbling that this is bigger than myself and that this may be eventually a part of history. So when we got there, I remember Cash Bell was being introduced. McCurdy and Flores, they gave a powerful speech about ending Cash Bell, and just to hear that, those type of ideas and seeing us like being represented, black, brown, Latino, you know all type of folks, LGBTQ, just all being represented in that area, it meant a lot to me. And I remember bumping my music on Capitol Hill. I was bumping Nipsey Hussle, and I
Yes.
was like, I want to be heard. And I remember, the people that were from there that didn't look like me, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy, but this is my culture. This is who I am.
Hmm.
And this is who shaped who I am today. So it was a great experience, and it let me know it was possible for me to also be an assembly member.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. How do you feel your path took you from on a freedom bus, bumps and Nipsey Hustle to now you be taking that road to Carson City, you'll have your own office and you'll be an assembly member.
You said, how is that transition? Or
What do you think led you to there? Because not everybody who's on that bus wants to run for office
that's
or
true.
won their elections who did run for office.
That's true. I think what led me there is the will and the passion to want to make change. And I always, question what is my talent, and I realized my talent is, caring about people
Mm.
and caring how people are impacted. And I think working in mental health for so long, you constantly become this advocate, and you constantly meet roadblocks that happen because of policy, and you get tired of advocating, you get tired of protesting, you get tired of boycotting, and you you want to address the system in a different capacity. And I felt that, me running for office could, amplify my voice and also the voice of those formerly incarcerated. That was another reason that really pushed me to run, because I knew that there was generations of people that have not been represented in politics,
Hmm.
and especially elected spaces. And we look at legislation, we see how so many laws impact those with a record, and if there's a reason why, because there's no representation of those people in office. So
Hmm.
I felt like it was a duty and part of my purpose, and I'm not trying to go too big in faith and everything, but I really felt like I was walking in my purpose, and that's why I won. If I was doing something that I wasn't meant to do, I wouldn't have, won my election and won how I did with, such big win numbers. Like, I really feel
Mm,
like this is my purpose and how I'm gonna, give back to my community.
I love that. And don't be afraid to talk about faith. I think sometimes progressives kind of like poo poo church and all that, but let's not act like it wasn't the church that taught us how to organize. So,
Right, right. Say that.
yeah. So, for people who haven't run for office or maybe who haven't been involved in politics, what are some things that you think were unexpected that you kind of encountered when you ran for office?
Um, Not being embraced the way that you expect you want to be embraced by your friends, your family, your peers, people that look like you, or even like I have a black father. I thought my biggest supporter were gonna be black men, and that's not necessarily true.
Mm,
Like, so just expecting that your support don't always look like what you expect it to be. A lot of my supports were from moms from all backgrounds and ethnicity, and moms really supported me up and down because they seen their child, someone that made a mistake
hmm.
that's trying to overcome it. So it really surprised me, and it was that, and also learning about every issue, every single issue, because when you run, I got introduced with Plan and Mass Live, so I'm running off my passions, affordable housing, criminal justice reform, mental health care, but there literally are 100 other issues that you have to be educated and be concerned and be attentive about the issue, because just how you care about criminal justice reform, someone cares about zoning and
Mm,
healthcare. And so, being able to be diverse and kind of step out the box and realize support doesn't always is not the way that you want it, but just embrace what people can do, and just move
mhm.
forward.
Yeah. Do you have any bills that you think people would be interested in following?
Oh, absolutely. So um, in these bills, we have to work on the language, but I did
Mhm.
submit all my bill ideas. So I
Mm.
do so I do have a bill that goes around people who are found not guilty or their charges were dismissed. So basically, these people were arrested and were innocent, but they still live with the arrest records, and that could affect
Wow.
employment, housing, and to me they are already victims of the criminal justice system, and they were found innocent. We should at least be able to seal their record automatically. But what happens right now is that you either have to, if you're legally savvy, you could petition it yourself, or more than likely people get lawyers to get
Okay.
that removed,
Which is
and
expensive.
which is expensive. So you have a lot of folks that can't afford that, living with this arrest record, that something that they weren't even found guilty of. Um, so and then I'm also working on a pre-sentencing dignity act, and the dignity act is going to vary from um, risk assessments, pre-sentencing risk assessments, see if people could be released, without being held in jail or on a cash bail, to adjust those, to assess those type of things, and also just bring dignity to everything that comes before your sentencing, because often jails or people are treated inhumane, and it's odd to me that that happens, because prisons actually operate better than jails, and you would think it would be just the opposite.
Yeah.
Jails is like almost like a dungeon, a place where you get tortured from the food you eat to the treatment that you receive from the employees there. It's totally different, and to me, it should be a higher quality, especially when you have a position where people are really, a lot of folks are innocent and they're just going through the system. So it's bringing dignity around that, with the food that they receive, to even the restraint chairs, which I remember, 4 years ago, someone in Clark County Detention Center died in one of those chairs. So it's
Mm.
kind of revisiting all that, kind of bringing more dignity and more humanity, to all the steps that come before pre-sentencing. Um, so, and also affordable housing's definitely on the table. And at the, with that, I want to get something done. So I am meeting with different county, city governments, even talking to the governor to see what can we do to really get affordable housing that's not going to be vetoed.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so doing that dance, and also looking at ways we could span community wellness in our schools.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, few things, right?
Just a few things, just a few things.
Yeah. So I think most people know your story. We don't have to rehash it, but I'm curious for someone who's been open about mental health struggles and your past, with people similar to you, especially young men, how would you encourage them to get involved like you have? And I won't even say get involved in politics, just be civically engaged,
Engage.
when, especially when you feel like the system doesn't care about you.
I think so. The Maslow hierarchy of needs. I think that chart is a good chart to live by. I wish our government lived by that chart. Um, I think one of the greatest steps that you could take to being a self-actualized person and being your fullest self is giving back and volunteering. And I've been in this space for a long time, and a lot of folks don't really know me for like my entrepreneur background. They
Hmm.
really just know me for serving, volunteering, testifying, advocating. And that's because it gave me more purpose to do things that were out of volunteering than my actual work. And it actually made me feel better, more better about myself, knowing that I'm doing this work because I want to do it, and I want to help, and not necessarily that I'm getting paid. And trust, we all need a job, but it's
Hmm.
good to have that balance, because often we get caught up in the day by day of going to a job that we may not necessarily even want to be at, but having that balance to be able to be part of something that you want to be part of, it that has no ties to any monetary gain, it's a great feeling, and it's what really, I think, gets you to be a self-actualized person.
Hmm. It's beautiful. Yeah. Are you going to encourage more people from Mass Lib to run for office?
Absolutely, I think that's the bigger plan. If I just run it, it defeats the entire purpose. I
Hmm.
think my goal, I'm gonna stay in this elected position, but to me, I already won. Like my plan, to inspire other folks to run. I feel like I that mission has been completed, and I know folks are going to be activated to run, because like, you see Jovan, he wears flip flops. Like, if he could win office, I could win office. Like
Yeah.
those type of conversations. And I know it may be some negative conversations about me, but so well, if it inspires someone to run for office, then if it's for the greater good, then absolutely. And then I am the, first formerly incarcerated person to become a state lawmaker in Nevada. And that's very underrepresented,
Hmm.
historically. And then to be the sixth formerly incarcerated person elected in the United States as a state lawmaker, it's
Wow.
very underrepresented thing compared to the historical contact behind policing and prisons and records. So I
Yeah.
hope more folks run.
And we talk about directly impacted and frontline people. I mean, you more than anybody knows what it likes, how hard it is to rent an apartment or a
Yeah,
house,
yeah,
or to get into master degree programs.
yes,
So all of those things, and I think it's so much different. Instead of me telling you a story trying to convince you, you already get it. Now
yeah.
you're trying to convince your colleagues.
No, it's a live experience. I still struggle with housing. Me growing up as a legislator, like, I'm limited of where I could stay in Carson City.
Yeah.
I can't even a lot of legislators, they're going to apartment applications, things like that. I'm totally those I can't use those avenues. I have to depend on like Airbnb and short-term leasing or hotels because of my background. And it's the live experience. And just yesterday going through the training, like we go through all these training, we learn all these data, but when we got to the housing portion, we was going over data. It just wasn't data to me. It really impacted me, and it really hurt me to see that Nevada is one of the most expensive places to rent in the nation, like in the
Hmm.
the top, one of the top, top five. And it's just like that's not my home, and I'm impacted, on all levels. And just not my background, just financially, who can afford this type of environment. And those additional boundaries don't help. And we talk about resources and housing and all these assistance programs. Those programs don't go to people with backgrounds typically. So
Yeah.
it's you have a base of people who struggle to get employment because of their background, and then they also struggle to get resources and assistance because of their background. And then so where are their safety net other than jails and prisons? So
Yeah.
it's disturbing to have that real live experience. I hope people could see that in me and see that this is a real issue. And like, you work right next to me each day, and this is something that I'm impacted by. So I hope it opens the hearts and minds and other
Hmm.
legislators.
So this is a more personal question. It's
Mhm.
not a gotcha question,
No,
I
go
promise.
go
So,
for it. What's the tea?
so you were not endorsed by the party,
Right.
but it seems like you haven't taken that personally. Like
Mhm.
you're still Jovan with a big smile and a good
Yeah.
attitude. Why is that? Why do you think you didn't let that bother you? Like you just still went ahead with your campaign, went ahead with, you're on your committees and all of that.
I think if I would have let that bother me, then that's them winning.
Mm-hmm.
Me staying true to myself and my character and who I am, I think is me winning. So I don't want to be a spiteful person. I don't want to be an ego driven person. I'm already a Taurus, so I'm stubborn. And but I'm really trying to go into this role to being receptacle to other people's opinions and thoughts, and just try to stay authentically me. And it didn't bother me because it gave me an opportunity to run my campaign, and to
That's
run my
true.
campaign that I thought was best for my community, than to not to put uh anyone down, than to listen to someone else and to be like, well, I don't really agree with that. So I really, even though they didn't accept me in the caucus initially, I really felt like it was an opportunity for me to shine and show my capacity, that I can do things on my own, and I will.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. And I think kind of along with that too, what you had said, like no ego, don't hold grudges.
Mhm.
You're also going to be, it's different from Mass Live because you're going to have people who are big time Trump supporters who
Oh,
think, you shouldn't be allowed to serve in the legislature. How do you have you thought about how you would deal,
with Trump's
especially yeah, especially you want your bills not to be vetoed, so you're going to need some bipartisan
some
support.
bipartisan support. I mean, what's the tea? I know we talked about it earlier, so what's the tea? Let's just be honest. Republicans voted a felon to be president of the United States. So if you look at me and feel like I don't belong or I shouldn't have a seat at the table, then that should be the same for your Republican president. So
Hmm.
that's just how I feel right there, and I'm gonna stand on that, and I'm confident on that, and I'm very qualified. Even though I get caught up in that identity, I am very qualified to lead, and I have lead before, and there's a lot of other factors that make me qualified to run for office. Definitely educated. Have a college degree.
Hmm.
Definitely can understand legislation. policy change, and definitely have had a professional job and ran businesses and organizations. So, you know, I my background is like, I originally caught my charges in 2014, and it's like, wow, 10 years ago, it's like one moment of your life could be, still project you from 10 years from
10
now,
years.
and but I'll just let people know that I do belong, because they're gonna see my work. People gonna see my worth, and I'm not doing it to like act like I belong. I know I belong, and I'm not trying to prove it to you. It's just I know my worth. So whether you feel I don't or I do, I know I do. So
Yeah. I just had a vision of Jageda being your attaché. That would have been so fun.
with
You would
the,
have got so much work done. I love it. You would have.
yeah,
I feel
I
like you
would
have
have.
been cranking it out.
Yeah, he's a CEO now, or
Yeah.
executive CEO. So
Yes. He's a big baller. Play up from the
yeah,
Himalayas.
co-CEO.
So to wind down a little bit, we're going to talk about some of our other election results, because we were so excited and thrilled that you won, but you had some other people on the ballot with you who are exciting. So I'm going to read their name, and I would love for you to say 1 to 2 words about them. Okay?
I'm nervous
No,
now.
it'll be
This is
fun.
what's the tea,
Okay,
though, right?
look how easy this will be. Here's the first name. Tamika Henry.
Super awesome.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Chandra Summers Armstrong.
Passionate and consistent.
Max Carter.
Hippie. Tree hugger.
Yes, I love him. Angie Taylor.
Black excellence.
Yeah. Heather Goulding. She's from Reno.
No, I know who Heather is. Heather is very stern and direct, and has this will to get stuff done all the time.
Yeah, I'll be watching her. I like her a lot.
She's a wild card. I'm interested to see what she does, to be honest.
Okay. Stephen Horsford.
OG.
OG. Question 6.
Yes.
And I'm going to add another one because this is the homie, Erica Roth.
Hey, so Erica, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I really looked up to her through my campaign. Even though she was in Northern Nevada, I really admired her platform and how she led.
Yep.
And I actually, I took a couple of her ideas. I'm not gonna lie, but I think she is a great example of leadership, and she doesn't mind leading. So even though we're all freshmen now, I really see her having a powerful role in leadership, and it's not going to be something that she necessarily pursues, but it's going to be given to her. So I'm excited for her.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So Trump did win, but what we like to say here at Plan, organizing is the antidote to authoritarianism. And so on January 18th, I think you'll still be in Carson then, but we are hosting our People Summit.
Okay.
We're hosting it earlier in the year. It's on January 18th. People can check out Plans Mobilize and sign up for it. I remember what I told you about my birthday.
Yes.
It's the State of the State.
State of the State.
So Lombardo will lay out his plans for the State of the State. Are you allowed to have guests, or do you just go? Could your family go with you? Because you know how they do it at the president, and they like wave to the people up in the balcony.
I think our guests might have to be, and they can't be on the floor.
So you can't invite Jageda.
No, I can't bring Jageda because I know on the State of the State specifically, we got to have senators next to us because it's in one chamber. So
who's your senator, Dina?
Dina Neal.
Nice.
Yeah, which I think that's awesome. Like, I have awesome mentors to learn from. Like, to me, coming in under Dina and DMM is like, it's a privilege.
Yeah.
It's a true privilege. And so I'm excited about that.
Excellent. Are you part of the Black Caucus too?
I am Black, so yes. I know I'm light skinned, y'all. So yes.
Team light skin. Yes. Well, Jovan, thank you so much for taking the time. I know that now you're an assembly member. People are pulling you in all different kinds of directions, but I'm glad that you always take time to come home.
Always.
All right. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to What's the Tea?
What's the Tea?